episode of Straight Shooting Sports Talk, and I am your host, Dujane Bland. And boy, Jay Cutler is taking some heat, ain't he? My goodness. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about, I know we've had this conversation a lot, but this is something that interests me, and you can see the article on sportsjourney.com. Is it Dak to the Future or is it back to Romo? And we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. We're going to try to break down at least 8 games, and I'm going to give you my picks on those. So, Jay Cutler, I know his track record, okay? I get it. The guy allegedly quit on his team in one of the biggest games of his team's since when he was with, uh, you know, in the biggest game. And here we are back again, and he comes back out after hurting his hand, and then he exits the game and maybe have taken himself out. Now, if you watch that game, did you see how many times Jay Cutler got hit? I mean, I understand he's perceived as not caring, but if his hand was that bad off, and everybody knows that you kind of need your thumb to be able to get a good grip on the football to get a good release. And I'm not making an excuse for the guy, and I'm not a Jay Cutler apologist by any means. But if he's not capable of throwing the football, then why do you want him out there? A. B. If he's the best quarterback you have on the roster, and let's face it, Bears weren't going to win that game. Their offensive line is terrible. And, really hasn't protected Jay Cutler the time that he was there. And maybe that's a little bit to do with his attitude. I don't know. But they didn't protect the backup very well either. I mean, you're blaming Jay for the loss? I mean, I know how it looks and all. But this guy, and this is only 3 games in, and he's already taken. Well, we're not even into week 3. Excuse me. We're in week 2, and he's already taken 8 sacks. He took 3 in that game, and that's not counting the countless hits and knockdowns that he took. So, if he's going to be taking this kind of beating over a 16-game season, yikes. He might not make it. So, if he doesn't give your team the best chance to win, he doesn't feel like he is capable of putting the team in position the best chance to win, then I don't blame him. And as much as he's been getting hit, I probably would have gotten out too. Because, man, that offensive line can't block the save. I mean, even when he's throwing balls down the field, he's getting walloped. So we're not talking about the recorded sacks only. This guy's taking pounding after pounding after pounding. I don't know, but it ain't just all on Jay Cutler, that's for sure. There's a whole lot of components there that aren't working that they got to get fixed, and it starts up front. Now, taking a look at the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott, I know Jerry Jones seems to think that, Tony Romo can come back, and, when he comes back, it's his team. And I get that. He's a veteran. He's proven he's deserved that right for it to be his team when he comes back. I mean, no guy should lose his team to injury, right? But if this team's on a roll, and let's say Tony is going to be out for 8 weeks, and we see the Dallas Cowboys schedule, it's very favorable. I think it's like 31st or 32nd easiest schedule in the league. And we see the division NFC's champs, who have one of the toughest schedules in the league, and they're already 0-2. And they face Chicago next week, and we'll talk about that. But if they're on a winning streak, do you want to go away from the hot hand and the chemistry that has been built with these guys? Even though he may not be able to dissect defenses that well, it's obvious that they've done a halfway decent job of game planning correctly to help Dak. But I mean, from what I've seen, he's not incompetent by any means. That doesn't mean he's not going to make any mistakes, but he's not incompetent by any means. as far as going through his progressions. And hasn't looked like a rookie at all. I mean, it doesn't even seem like the pressure even faces him. And he faced pressure in the last 2 games. He faced pressure. I mean, the Giants gave him pressure, the Redskins gave him pressure, and he didn't seem to be fazed by any of that. So if they're hot as a firecracker, I mean, can you really just say, hey, thanks, Dak? This is Romo's team, though. Especially if he's not throwing a lot of interceptions. We know Tony is good for some interceptions at the wrong time. Dallas fans know all about that. You want to go back to 2012 with the division on the line? And you got beat by the Redskins because Romo can't not turn the ball over. Now, I know Jerry loves his boy and all, but if Dak's playing well, I think you got to go with the high hand. And I'd be dacking it to the future all day. Right into the playoffs if I could. Because this kid's playing pretty well. So if you want to check out that article and get a little more in depth in that, you can check out all my work on sportsjourney.com. That's sportsjourney.com. And if you want to look at my work specifically, you can go right under the reporters link and hit my name, Dujanay Bland, and all my articles will come up. Now, it is week 3 in the NFL. And it keeps getting better, folks. It keeps getting better. Thursday night's matchup, the Houston Texans versus the New England Patriots. Both of these guys are 2-0. Houston's going to New England. No Garoppolo. No Brady. Third stringer. Now, we know Belichick does an excellent job of putting his guys in position to win. But this Texas defense is something else. Now, we have seen over the last 2 games that Brock Osweiler has turned the ball over by throwing interceptions, but they've managed to overcome that and win the ball game. I think with this third string quarterback, they're going to be a little bit handcuffed, just a bit. But I think Belichick's going to pull some tricks, some different things to tailor to the quarterback that he has right now. And they're just trying to buy some more time, right? They need 2 more weeks. But I'm going with the Texans in this one. I just think with Osweiler, with that defense, the way they've been able to stretch the field, New England's defense may spend a little bit more time out there on the field. And I'm going to take the Texans over the Patriots for that reason. So they're going to suffer their first loss. Nobody's fault. But, injuries are part of the game, and that's going to play a factor on that third string quarterback, young quarterback, versus a more seasoned team. I think that's going to be the Texans' game to win. Now we go to Cleveland and the Dolphins. Both teams are reeling for a win. Dolphins always trying to find a win, even though they got talent and seem to can't put it together. Well, they're going to get it together this weekend because it's who they're playing. It seems like McCown's going to be out, so they're going to have a rookie starting as well. And it's just going to be the Dolphins because they just have more talent on that team. Doesn't mean that they're, by far like one of the top teams. They're just better than the Browns. So I'm taking the Dolphins. Now we move on to the Oakland Raiders and the Tennessee Titans. I like Oakland a lot. Thought they could have won last week. Atlanta pulled out one. Kind of surprising. But they pulled it out. And Oakland's going to Tennessee. Tennessee pulled one out as well, which did not expect. But hey, that's why they play the games. But I'm going to take the Raiders here. Think they're a better team, a more seasoned team than the Titans. They're still trying to get some of those pieces to, start firing. And I think there's more firepower over there on the Raiders side of the ball. They've been playing excellent defense. They have been giving up points, especially to the New Orleans Saints, especially to the Atlanta Falcons, but they can score points. And I think that's going to be the deciding factor. They can score more points than Tennessee. So the Raiders, I will take. And we go into the Baltimore Ravens and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville looked terrible last week after having a pretty decent game that was hard fought at home against the Green Bay Packers. Now they're going to be at home again against a lesser Baltimore Ravens team. I thought they skimmed by against the Bills, and they got one last week at the hands of possibly the refs. That ugly call at the end of the game, but I think Jacksonville's a better team. They're going to find a way with that firepower and get things rolling. They're going to be at home. That's going to play a huge factor. So I'm going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars over the Ravens. Not by big. It'll be 7, no more than that. But Jags are going to win. Now the Washington Redskins 0-2, and the city's going out of control. Fire everybody. Fire the coach. Fire the offensive coordinator. Fire everybody. It's just because they lost to Dallas. Just mad. And they 0-2. But they play a Giants team in New York that they haven't done or played favorably in New York in years. And they seem to be anemic and just seem to never get off the bus when they go to New York, whether it's the Giants or the Jets. So I don't have much faith in what they're going to have to prove it to me. I'm going to take the New York Giants at home. They're 2-0. They're on a roll. They won a tough game last week against the New Orleans Saints. And I expect it to be an NFC East battle. But I think for whatever reasons, history will repeat itself for Washington. And unfortunately, they'll be wanting to burn FedEx down once the Redskins go 0-3. And I expect them to be 0-3 by the end of Sunday. Now we have the Arizona Cardinals and the Buffalo Bills. We don't even need to say nothing about this. Buffalo's out of control. Rex has gone Rex. They fired Greg Roman. He's not the problem. But whatever. Arizona is way better organizationally, team-wise. I'm taking the Cardinals. And that brings us to the Vikings and the Panthers. Sam Bradford. Got to give the man some credit. He looked really good. But I don't think it's good enough. No AP. The Panthers defense is something else. Got the Superman Cam Newton on a roll right now. That offense is firing with Calvin Benjamin back. He's looking good, and I think Minnesota's defense is going to spend too much time out there on the field, and Cam and that big body, along with those big bodies in the backfield, going to bruise them up. I'm going to take the Panthers over the Vikings. And our last pick of the night, Denver Broncos and Cincinnati. I think it's going to be a great game. Two teams going to knock it and slug it out. They have offensive firepower despite the quarterback situation over there in Denver. Defense is reeling, though, and I think it's going to come down to Denver's defense getting turnovers, and they're going to find a turnover that's going to get them some points, and that's going to be the difference in this ball game. But I think this is going to be a must-see game. I think it's going to be a really good game, but I'm going to take the Broncos here. Even though they're going to Cincinnati, I just think their defense is just crazy, and that's without DeMarcus Ware. Well, that's our picks, and that's our show for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you so much for listening in. Again, you want to get at me, you can email me straight shootingst@gmail.com. Any questions, anything you want to hear on this show, we're more than happy to talk about it. If you want to get at me on Twitter, it's notbland21. And as I said before, you can look at all my work on sportsjourney.com. Again, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.